Mace PvP. Mace PvP is used to deal a lot of damage and end fights quickly. Mace PvP isn't necessarily elytra macing. Using wind charges, it launches the player up, and when falling down, you hit him with the mace to do a lot of damage. This could easily one-shot any player, even in full netherite armor. This clip right here by Rapture shows what Mace PvP truly is. This isn't necessarily elytra PvPing. You mostly use the mace, wind charges, and pearls to pearl on the player and then mace him. As we can see right here, he also mixes in fishing rods to make it easier for him. Because of how deadly this is why most SMPs does not allow the mace. Card PvP is the most complex in this list out of all the other ones. Card PvP is very hard to master and is very hard to pull off in an actual game unless you're an actual pro at this. You see, to understand how the game mode works is you have to understand how carding works. So basically, you shoot a flame bow, you place a rail and then a minecart before the flame bow lands, which is really hard to pull off. But if you get the hang of it, you can easily kill hordes of players easily. But there are also drawbacks, like if you car yourself, you could die, or if you're not careful, or they have a car, you could also die to their car. So yeah, it's very hard to pull off, but high risk, high reward, I guess. Sword PvP is the basics of Minecraft. If you know how to do sword PvP, then you're basically as good as dead. You use sword to kill mobs, defend yourself, and kill other players. By pressing left click, you swing your sword and deal damage depending on what sword you get. For example, if you have a diamond sword, you do 7 damage, or if you have a stone sword, you do 5 damage. And yeah, sword PvP can go along with any other PvP style. Crystal PvP also does a lot of damage, popping your totem even in one, and also it doesn't matter what armor you're wearing. If it doesn't have blast protection, you're basically cooked. A great example here is it's Real Me, probably the best crystal PvPer in the world. You see, how crystal PvP works is by placing an obsidian and placing a crystal and then left clicking on it. But that's not the whole thing to it. You have to manage your totems, inventory, and all the other stuff if you want to master this PvP style. But either way, it's very hard to master. Also, there's a server called Donuts SMP dedicated to only crystal PvPing. If you want to check that out, go ahead. Spear PvP. Alright, when most people hear this, they're probably thinking about fighting with the spear. But spear PvP, what it really is spear used for mobility. For example, you can pair spear with a mace or just sword to get higher mobility and catch him off guard. We can see in this clip right here, he uses the spear to get to the player and mace him. But yeah, all spear PvP is spear being used for mobility to get to the player and not letting him run. This is great if you do not have pearls. Axe PvP is using the axe to do high damage and kill the player fast, as usual. But yeah, axe PvP is mostly used in mini games, but nobody actually uses it in actual SMPs. What axe PvP is most useful is shield disabling and attribute swapping. Attribute swapping is when you switch from the axe to the sword, giving it the damage of the axe but the cooldown of the sword, making it very useful in actual fight. Axe PvP is mostly about shield disabling, good movement, and getting more hits before the opponent hits you. And this clip by Eximity is the best example of axe PvP, as we can see here. Fishing rod. Okay, so since this isn't a deep dive video, I'm just going to be explaining the basics to rod PvP. Okay, so as we can see here, rod PvP in Minecraft is a combat style where the player uses a fishing rod alongside a sword to stun opponents, control distance, and start combos. These are basics to rod PvP, but there are way more to it. Since this isn't a deep dive video, we're just gonna leave it there. Alright, now finally we have door PvP. Okay, now finally we got door PvP. Door PvP isn't used much these days, but it was very popular back then. But yeah, the purpose of door PvP is to block enemies' attack and get them confused. If they don't expect it, you can catch them off guard and get more hits than them. This isn't the most effective style. People just do this PvP style just because it's fun, and I feel like you should try it too because it's a fun experience. Anyway, there isn't much to say about this PvP style other than just people just trying it out for the first time and seeing if it's fun or not. But yeah, that's all there is to this PvP style. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and if you guys really enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. More videos in the future, and I am starting to upload more often. So see you in the next video.